All right, welcome back. You're still watching The Break. We didn't quite take a break. The conversation continued here in studio, but it's now 28 minutes past the hour, and you're still talking about the road to August 9th. And now I want us to transition to a topic about the presidential debate that is scheduled for tomorrow. We know that there are 4 presidential candidates: Raila Odinga, William Ruto, Professor George Wajackoyah, and one David More Waihiga. They're expected to debate each other. For Luchiri Wajackoyah, he's expected to debate David More Waihiga, William Ruto to debate Raila Odinga, but the team of Azimio is warning that they are not coming. Watch.
Hapana, tunataka baba mzee amekomaa, African statesman ambaye anasimama juu kabisa huko. Kwa hivyo yeye hataenda debate na conmen and fraudsters. Station yake ni juu hapa. Haendi hiyo, huyu aende akafanya debate na yeye mwenyewe.
Umesema hautafanya debate na watu ambao wamepora mali ya watu yote ya Kenya.
Baba hawezi enda kudebate na William Ruto. Na sisi kama watu wa Azimio hatujachukua mambo ya debate kama kitu ya mzaha. Tunajua ni kitu muhimu sana kwa Wakenya. Lakini tumejua ya kwamba baba na William Ruto hawezi kukaa kwa jukwaa moja ili wa debate. Hiyo ni kama usiku na mchana.
Sisi watu wa Azimio hatuwezi ati tutengenezee platform patron saint wa ufisadi. Hiyo tumesema hapana. Si namna hiyo? Sema hapana. Sema hapana.
Sasa iko haja gani baba aende debate na watu wanataka kuiba? Iko haja? Kama baba anashinda anaenda kudebate na mtu anamuibia.
Na ugana na wale wengine kusema ya kwamba hiyo debate haina maana, wabane na Wajackoyah pamoja na Babu Owino.
Saizi ya William Ruto ni mtu mmoja ambaye anaitwa Babu Owino. Tumikie Babu Owino. Aende kupiga baba. Atuonyeshe hivi.
Wow, I don't know how you survive such, but the things that are being said there, that they will send Babu Owino, I don't even know what that says about, I don't know. Haman, what is this?
But you know, you must make certain preliminaries. One, that crowd should worry Caleb Kostan, because that is not Kisumu, that is now central. And he still talks of winning the election. The election is already lost, Caleb. And
but
again,
Kenyans vote
because Kenyans are also
by secret ballot, not in
Kenyans
crowds.
are reminding me as I sit here to tell Caleb that this IBC you are defending, up to now there's no clarity about the water register, there is no civic education. They are telling me that the 10,000 extra polling stations, Kenyans are yet to know where they physically are 2 weeks to an election. It's not an IBC you can defend. Anyway, Raila has not spoken. These are his people. So I take it that Raila can still go there tomorrow. And you remember, in the election of 2017, the organizers were waiting for Uhuru until the last moment when he didn't turn up, right? They didn't even know Raila would turn up, but Raila turned up. So I want to take it that Raila has since he has not spoken, he will turn up for the debate. But I also want to ask the organizers to allow Wajackoyah be part of the main debate. It's not too late for that. Let Wajackoyah and Maure be part of the debate. These are just 4 Kenyans, and smart Kenyans. If it was a crowd of 10, 8, you could see the sense in separating them. These 4 should debate together. And especially, we don't know whether Raila will turn up. So if he doesn't turn up, I'm asking them, don't deny Kenyans.
So you don't agree with the criteria that
didn't
separate them by 5%
no,
above?
That would be used if you have a crowd of presidential candidates. But just 4, Wajackoyah, Maure.
In your view, who are the likely, which 2 candidates are likely to be president?
There's only one candidate who will be president, and that is Raila Odinga.
Come on, you don't know that for
if you ask me evidence, I'll give you.
I'm asking you, yes. When you look at the race, because ideally it's a race between 2, who are those that are likely to be president?
No, we are not saying that. A debate is not just about who is going to be president. A debate is also about the citizens. When Dida was debating Uhuru Kenyatta, we knew he was not going to be president, but we enjoyed the debate. Even part of the debate is for people to enjoy. Look, an election is such a serious thing. We need some comic relief.
Wow.
What's wrong with you?
The reason I'm asking that is because, I mean, presidential debates is not a Kenyan idea.
Yes.
It's borrowed from other democracies like the US. And like in the last election, they had several presidential candidates,
Correct.
but they measured on the presidential debate, they measured on the two. Based on a certain criteria.
I've already explained to you, when you have many, like in America, there are always many unknown to people. There are very many. If you have, like we had 13 in 2013, we had about 13 or something around there. Many of them. Paul Muite, about 10. There were 8.
Yes.
Or even 2017, there were 8. 2013, there were more. Or something near that. You surely have to look for some criterion to use to limit the number, and you go by percentage. So if you have not hit 5%, but Wajakoya already hits 7 in one of them, so we can close our eyes and use that one. But I'm saying, because there are 4, and they are good Kenyans.
Which follows that he got 7%?
There's one where he got 7%.
By who?
I don't know which one. I can't.
It was just on Nairobi.
I think it was Nairobi.
It was not a national.
Okay, fine, it was Nairobi. But I'm saying, even in Mwaure, let's listen to them. These are good gentlemen, 4 of them. And if Raila doesn't turn up, look at how you'll have denied Kenyans the benefits of a debate. Let them change the rules, the plan today. Let them invite Wajakoya at 7:30 or whatever, 8 o'clock to debate Ruto if Raila would not turn up. But I'm not sure that Raila won't turn up. Raila could turn up for the debate.
Yet he kept quiet as
because he didn't speak about it. He could just walk there
he's not attending
and debate Ruto and ask him, Ruto, you still dream of becoming president?
And a letter from his campaign secretary saying that he's not going to...
That letter has not been... Was it forwarded to the organizers? I don't know. I saw it in the media. But the right has he can overrule his organizers, his team.
Okay. Let's listen to Professor Luchiri Wajakoya, who spoke while in Garissa, and as he spoke about the debate himself.
Nyinyi waandishi nyinyi, mimi nawaonya hivi, hiyo presidential debate mimi sikuji. Ati mnasema ati tutakuwa na 2 tiers. Ati watu wakisema opinion poll, ati opinion poll ikisema 5 na juu. Nyinyi mnatubagua kwa nini? Si mnduachie huyo mzee nicheze na yeye na huyo na nini? Hizo opinion polls zimekuwa rigged.
Okay, so Caleb, I see you smiling. I don't know why, but what do you make of these threats from Azimio and from Luchiri Wajakoya that they are not going to show up for the debate?
Well, I think I'm not surprised that Raila has officially pulled out of the debate. And when Manyora tells us Raila hasn't spoken, but when you see Junet has spoken and all the others, that is Raila speaking, going by what has been happening. I think Raila is being very dishonest to the media and to the people of Kenya by pulling out of the debate. He says he wanted to come and discuss issues, corruption, issues to do with integrity and all that, and nobody has denied him that chance. We had said he's welcome, let him come. We discuss state capture. We discuss the issues of how he has acquired the port of Kisumu. We discuss rising prices of unga. We discuss the impunity that we see since the handshake and how we have failed since we left the economic track that we had, a Big Four agenda that we had, and went on to the handshake issue with his brother. And all those issues, we would have loved him to come and discuss. But as Haman says, he may turn up, I don't know. And if it is the issue of standing for too long, we can ask the organizers to provide a seat. You know, all these things can be arranged. But the most important thing is that Raila is scared of debating William Ruto.
Why?
Does not. Well, this is somebody. William Ruto is somebody with a PhD, known from Nairobi University. Raila's academic credentials are in question. He has no papers to present. Those are some of the things that from the
Raila
debate.
Odinga was cleared by IEBC.
Yes, he was cleared by IEBC. But have you seen his papers?
I don't need to see them.
No, we need to see them. We need to see them. And we will be asking those questions even going into the future. We'll be asking those questions. We want to see even one classmate of Raila Odinga claim that I was in class with him. The other issue here, Sam, is that the previous two debates that have been held, the gubernatorial debate for Nairobi and the deputy presidential debate, didn't go very well for Azimio. Based on even the polls that were done, even by your own citizen media, Rigathi scored high, Sakaja scored high. So I think the biggest fear in Azimio is really how will we come out? And I think they already, based on even their own sitting, they already have the results. But the most important thing here, Sam, is how Azimio have trivialized the presidential debate. You can see Junet there trying to correct that, oh yes, we have not taken the debate as, we've not trivialized it, we take it as very important. But they've trivialized it to the point that they say, oh, we're not going to go, we're going to send Babu Owino. The Babu Owino who shot DJ Evolve, who has totally destroyed the life of a person, is a person that ODM think can actually, they can present to Kenyans in a presidential debate. That's how petty, that is how, what would I say? I can't even get the correct word. That is how petty Azimio and ODM team are, that they can equate a presidential debate to somebody of questionable character, like Babu Owino. So it's important that Kenyans get to know this. But I think Raila has denied us a chance. He's denying us a chance whereby we would see William Ruto at his best element. William Ruto has never disappointed in any debate. He's not afraid to answer any questions.
What do you mean never disappointed?
Yeah, he has never disappointed. He has always performed well in any...
Do you know that he did not attend the deputy president debate last time?
That is water under the bridge, Sam. We are talking about the presidential debate of 2022. Why do you want to bring back that? How does that come into... We are talking about now. We are talking about now. And so Raila should not deny Kenyans the chance. I think if I were to speak to him, I would encourage him to attend. It doesn't matter. Irrespective of the outcome, let him just come.
Okay, you spoke at length about the agenda that you'd want discussed, the things that you want the debate to discuss, but of course the agenda is set by the organizers of the presidential debate and the questions are picked by the moderators of that debate. So,
no, but I'm sure they listen to us and they can pick from this discussion.
Maybe your wish list to be considered, but Wakili, so how important is this? Because 2013 was the first time that we had presidential debates. Then in 2017 we had another round of it. This time round we'll have another one. We've had another round from Nairobi to the running mates for the presidential candidates and now tomorrow for the presidential candidates. How should Kenyans be taking them? But also more importantly, the candidates looking at the state of politics in this country at this time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sam. Maybe just for starters, to Mr. Kositanyi, Honorable, the issue about Babu Owino, my advice as a counsel is it will not be good to bring such issues. These are matters in court. Issues of culpability have not been settled, so he's actually opening himself to a potential, defamation suit. But that is besides the point. In terms of the question you've asked, debates all over the world are very, very, very important tools by which the society can actually gauge the candidates who present themselves for election into office in terms of the salient issues, now the real issues that should actually dictate whether you vote for a candidate or not. Issues outside tribalism, issues outside nepotism, issues outside bribery and money that is being given. And that should be the parameter upon which we elect people into office. Indeed, it not only gives the public this chance, but it uses the media who have now come out in a very good way by themselves without any persuasion to neutrally organize these debates. And I've seen it has been taken up even in terms of gubernatorial debates for other areas. to this particular extent, we'll look at it from 2013, 2017, 20, and currently, we have actually seen we are progressing in terms of how these debates are actually organized. And there's actually real benefit. We are now going from a point where people were saying that these debates do not add a vote to any person. Because we've seen in terms of the gubernatorial debate in Nairobi, now people started talking issues. It actually changed the direction upon which now people were looking at candidates. When we talked about the deputy president's debate or the running mates debate, you can see real issues. People now saw Gachagua in terms of who he is, and they didn't have that opportunity before. People saw the Iron Lady in terms of who she was, in a way that they had not gotten a chance in these public rallies. How good will it be then to subject the people whom we are voting, we want to vote for the highest office in the land, to deal with these main issues on such a public platform? It is quite unfortunate, in my view, that, and I will blame, of course, the handlers or whoever gave this advice to the Right Honorable Prime Minister. It is a very, very sad day when he himself, who has been out for transparency, who has always said he wants to be in all these debates, who castigated William Ruto when he did not attend the debate the last time round. So this time round, it is actually not good. And to say that you'll go to a certain town hall, we don't know who will organize that. But this was the best platform. In all developed countries, I've not had someone who is saying, I'm not going to go, because you don't go for these debates because of, prestige or pride. You go because you respect the electorates. You want them to know you. You go because you actually want these issues crystallized. But even as I say so, it is also sad, and I hope it's not rumors, because we don't want to delve on rumors, that there are also indications from the Kenya Kwanza side that they want to control the kind of narrative, the kind of questions that ought to be asked. And we heard it from, I think, Rigathi Gachagua's debate with Martha Karua, when he said there are certain questions I will not want to be asked. And he said it live. So we are having the same semblance now, that the presidential candidates are trying to control the kind of questions that will be asked. That will be very wrong. And for the media to fall for such, it will actually be negating the very essence of such a debate. You should go there, open yourselves up, let some ask whatever question they think is pertinent to the common Mwananchi, because they are the ones, you're actually the ones who are the voice of the Mwananchi at this particular stage. But lastly on that, it is not also good to separate, these, especially if you, and I agree with Herman, if they are just four, it will be good to give them a platform, as much as I know you're balancing with the time, because we also need qualitative debates. But it will be good at this particular stage, because if Raila doesn't go, what you'll have is not a debate, it will be an interview, which is what normally you've been doing at Karen when you're called by DP Ruto or by Raila. It will actually not live to its bidding.
Okay, all right. And of course, there's one, I had someone say that they are willing to go to the debate, lakini they will not go to debate Mtu wa Bangi. I had such a thing somewhere. There's a statement here from Hussein Mohammed, the Director of Communications from WSR Presidential Campaign, that he released on 21st of July. He said that, among other things, that William Ruto will be attending, but we expect that the moderators will allocate equal time to issues affecting Kenyans and equally allow candidates a fair opportunity to address them. To that end, we wish to know in advance the number of minutes that will be allocated to respective interventions, including but not restricted to governance and integrity, agriculture, healthcare, MSMEs, and manufacturing, housing, the digital economy, foreign policy, and so on and so forth. We will be greatly obliged by your early response and look forward to a robust debate. And I'm just wondering, because you hear this, he also said some of the things that they expect to debate. Raila Odinga's letter signed by One Makau Mutua is talking about he doesn't want to debate a person of the character of the deputy president. What is this obsession with candidates and campaigns influencing what they speak about at the debate?
I wouldn't have wanted Raila to skip the debate, but if he has reasons, the reasons are also there. Look, up to that 21st, Hussein Mohammed is still trying to dictate what kind of questions should be asked, what time should be allocated to what. And they had been talking about unfairness of the media and so on and so forth. And if you look at the debate itself, the one between Igathe and Sakaja, you could see Sakaja coming in late. And that didn't seem to bother anybody, of the organizers or the moderators. And he walked in here with a phone. I didn't know the phone was not allowed, but if that is true, if the other one had been asked to leave his phone behind, this one comes with it. You saw the one of Rigathi Gachagua, he was with Mwakenya and Pamana. So I would understand if Raila realizes this is just a joke, and I'm not going to be part of this joke.
Did it feel like a joke for you?
Yeah, and I don't think, I've not taken time to look at it seriously.
No, you know, Haman, you're saying things,
yes.
But then discounting them when I ask of your specific assessment. So I'm lost because the viewer is listening to you and trusting.
What I'm saying is, I have made a statement that if I were the one advising Raila, I would tell him to attend the debate. I've said that. But I also add, if he is not attending the debate, he could have reasons, and the reasons are there. I can see them myself. So I leave it to the viewer to judge. I can't judge for the viewer. I mean, you can understand if he's boycotting this debate, there is a reason, and evidence is there. Okay, the way it's run and so on and so forth. So, but then you'll have to allow me to address one or two things. Again, you know, when we sit here, we must not make sweeping statements. When you say Raila has possessed the Kisumu port, exactly what are you saying? And you didn't even ask him. No. How does an individual take a port and put in his pocket? Can Raila put Kisumu port in his pocket and it becomes his? That's reckless. It should not be allowed on a platform such as this when Wakili and I and Sam are seated there. The matter of degree, Sam, let these people look for something else. You know, Moi was president for 24 years. He didn't have a degree. Out of the 15 or so American presidents, about more than half didn't have degrees. I'm not saying Raila doesn't have, but I'm saying the obsession with degrees. And the debating has nothing to do with the degrees. You can debate a guy without a degree and they floor you. So let's not kutafutilia tu vitu tu ambato hatuna sababu. And finally, Igathe, nani?
What soil is that?
Finally, Caleb. When you are looking for who has won the debate, you must be very careful. And ask yourself, what does winning a debate mean? What does an opinion poll by the CNN or by citizens? Are they in the same league? Are they the same people being asked? Who has more bloggers? Let me tell you this. When you are Martha Karua and you are debating, you must be aware there are two sets of audience you are addressing. Martha Karua was well advised, but the people who advised her to address only one set of the audience, which is the serious audience you want to sway. Rigathi, on the other hand, again addressed one set of audience which Martha Karua failed to address, the cheering crowd. Now, I want to tell you, it's not too late, Caleb. Tell Ruto. The people who cheer when you talk are already in your side. They're already your voters. They add no value. But they color the debate, the spice of the debate. They make people think you are winning. So it is good. To that extent, the advisors of Martha failed to tell her, much as you address the people who matter, you should also address the audience that cheers. That's where they failed.
How do you separate the two?
Now, the two is very clear. Those who are cheering are already in your camp. They are already your supporters, are already voting, they already made up your mind. Who was Martha Karua addressing? Martha Karua was addressing the undecided voter. Why is somebody undecided? Ask Tom Wolf when you meet here on Sunday. They are critical, they are thinking, they are weighing options. They have not been swayed, if they are from Mount Kenya, by the hatred they have of Uhuru or the fear they have of Raila. They have not been swayed there. They are not sycophants, they are not basing themselves merely on tribe. So they are still weighing options. Now, if you look at who won that debate between Karua and Rigathi, Karua won. Because she was addressing the undecided Kikuyu voter. And that undecided Kikuyu voter is likely to go for the Karua who looked well measured, well controlled, looking steadily, somebody who can anytime can become not just deputy president, but president. Finally.
Yet you have no way of verifying what you're saying.
Finally, but I'm saying that's how it happens. Finally, Sam and Caleb and Wakili, when you say you want to talk issues, this country, and I want to say this very, very briefly, Sam, if you allow me.
Go ahead.
This country is facing an election. Both sides are, if you are talking of two sides, both Raila and Ruto are talking of the same things. There is nothing different they are saying. The problems that face Kenyans are the same. None of them is bringing anything different. None of them is coming up with any radical measures, any revolution. So they are talking about the same things. Kenyans will be forced this particular time to look at only two things. One, corruption. Because without dealing with corruption, Caleb, all those beautiful ideas in your plan, or do you call it a manifesto or a plan, all of them zero without dealing with corruption. The second thing Kenyans are going to look at is who between the Ruto Gachagua team and the Raila mother team can deliver the country, especially because at the core of this election is corruption. So Kenyans are being asked to make a very simple choice. When you look at Martha Karua and Raila Odinga on one side, and then you look at Ruto and Gachagua on one side, who, as a Kenyan, can you believe can sort out the problem of this country, especially when at the core of the problem, at the center of our problems, is corruption? It is as simple as that. Of course, there will be a few confused fellows who may not make the right judgment, but the majority of Kenyans who are deciding might be tempted to think you are a joker.
Wow. You actually think that corruption is such a big issue in this election?
Without it, nothing else can be done.
So I'm asking...
all the beautiful plans cannot go anywhere.
Of course, what you're saying is
yes.
Okay, but what I'm asking is, you actually think it is going to decide this election?
Correct. Because the election will be decided by two things, by two centers. One, Mount Kenya. They will call this election. And the two, the critical and decided voter today, who will base themselves not on tribe, not those other parochial considerations, not the primitive considerations that we all use to make a decision as we are voting. That critical thinking voter is going to decide between Raila and Ruto. Who can they believe can fight corruption? Because without corruption, you can't
just want
get nowhere.
to quickly take you through the suggestions or proposals by different campaigns here on how to fight corruption. The Azimio Umoja, the Azimio Manifesto talks about legal and administrative reforms, reforms to fast-track corruption cases, increase capacity of enforcement agencies, enhance witness protection, entrench proportionate penalties for offenders, accelerate recovery of corruption proceeds. That's Azimio Umoja. On the other side, and the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto talks about state capture as the main corruption syndrome. They're going to establish a quasi-judicial public inquiry on state capture and weaponization, politicization of anti-corruption war, financial independence of EACC and the police, operationalize the judiciary fund. Well, just last week we got a statement from the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary saying that now the judiciary fund has already been operationalized. So I don't know how that talks about the agenda of Kenya Kwanza. David Mwaura Wahiga of Agano Party talks about stop money laundering and all illegal money will be government property. Corruption cases should take maximum 3 months to resolve. Prosecutorial powers for Auditor General and the EACC to help them in that sense. Of course, currently only the DPP has the prosecutorial powers in as far as public affairs are concerned. For George Luchiro Wajakoya, his proposal is to execute all offenders, well, we're coming to the tail end of this conversation, but Duncan, when you reflect on the agenda that should be discussed tomorrow, but also the question of corruption that he says is going to decide this election, in 2007, it was a factor. In 2002, it was a factor. Kibaki promised zero tolerance to corruption. 2012, a bit of it. 2017, a bit of it. But we never win this war. Is this such a serious issue above everything else at the moment?
Indeed, I would agree with Herman to an extent that corruption, of course, is actually it's the mainstay of our society. Any idea good that we have with corruption will actually just be fodder for corruption, because with all these ideas, money will be allocated. Once money is allocated, if we cannot have proper accountability in terms of the corruption issues, of course, they will go down. But that doesn't mean that corruption alone is the only issue that we ought to focus on. Because once you solve the corruption issue, your ideas must also be, real. They must be surreal. They must be ideas that are aligned in terms of the issues that are facing the Mwananchi. So it will not be bad to have all these issues on the table and to hear or to listen to what these people who are gunning for top office would want. And that is why you should not isolate any of these issues or dictate. To a large extent, you look at the past regimes, all of them, none has come and told you that we are coming on a corruption platform, we want to entrench corruption. All of them have had those policies, but one way or another, they have actually failed. And I dare say that any of these regimes that you look today at, whether it's Kenya Kwanza, whether it's Azimio, the two top regimes, from just where they are today, none of them can stand on the altar and say, we are the best, and because you can look at our track record. In Azimio, they are entertaining so many corrupt people. They are being funded by these corrupt people. And yet, they're the ones who are saying we are the saints. There is no solution there. Look at Kenya Kwanza. There is also what Herman is already talking about, which is there. To a large extent, I think maybe only Wajakoya and maybe Mwaure can actually now stand on the issue of corruption and tell us that you can look at our record. Azimio, as they speak, as they are today, the Raila may say, yes, I'm as white as snow. But you being a president, you're not elected to be a president and you lead as a sole person. You need people. If you are disciples, and that's why even Jesus himself, one of his disciples was rotten, and he actually paid the price based on that. You don't only need one. Yet, in the Azimio team, there's no shortage of the corruption or the corrupt people who are funding these particular ventures today. So to a large extent, it still remains an issue, and I don't believe, and forgive me for being a pessimist, that any of them will give us a solution to that. Unfortunately, our politics today, especially with the fact that we are now not going into the issue-based policies or issue-based aspects, we will still end up with either of those two, and that is a fact. But nonetheless, if there are issues, like Manyora is saying, maybe there are issues that Azimio had with how the media council had organized the previous debates. The right thing would have been to write and say, these are the issues we'll want you to address. If those issues are not addressed, you can pull off. But is there a letter addressing the media council or the organizers of these particular debates, raising these issues, and those issues are not addressed? That is exactly what they are doing with IEBC issues. They are writing formally, and they are expecting that to be addressed. So that cannot be a reason to withdraw. Okay.
Well, of course, there's a specific letter here from Kenya Kwanza signed by Hussein Mohamed to Clifford Machoka, the head of the 2022 Presidential Debate Secretariat, signed 21st July 2022. And Caleb, I know I owe you a comment. Maybe it will come from the questions here because you're coming to the end. King Zizas is saying that ask Honorable Caleb Kositany, with all their confidence in IEBC, if they will concede defeat in case Azimio declared winners after election. So hold it there. I'll give an opportunity to respond to that. Someone else, Abdikadir, you're saying that Kenyans have lost faith in IEBC to deliver free, fair and credible and verifiable election. Let Mr. Chebukati come clean on this Venezuelans fiasco. All right. Charlo Wadrozi, consignment of sensitive election materials should not be personalized or politicized. IEBC should do their work to openly avoid criticism. They should have notified the airport officials about the arrival of the election materials. IEBC officials should have been there. All right. Engineer Lazaro, IEBC chairman and his team should be on board to explain their part of the story. No way sensitive election materials like Kim's kits, well, you got that spelling wrong, can be sneaked in the country through controversial foreigners without any information from the government. Well, Okello Mwalimu, you say Kenyans must start asking themselves whether presidential debates are of any serious importance. Going by the previous ones, there's a pattern in which one side of political divide is hijacking the platform to spew propaganda and propagate populist policies. All right. Bobo Tieno, you're saying that Raila Odinga will turn up for the presidential debate for sure. That's a mind game, and DP Ruto knows that very well. That's why he's dancing to the tune of him boycotting. Then Isaac Muthusi, there are so many attempts to frustrate the IBC, but Kenyans are sane minds. Trust, believe, and will stand with the IBC. We know who to trust and who not to trust. Then there's an SMS here from who?
From somebody.
Yes, Dr. Peter Mbai from Nakuru, you're saying that I'm sure all candidates that were to attend the debate had teams that have been working with the organizers to agree on questions, modalities, and relaying the same to the principals. Each candidate has a right to negotiate the expected questions and manner of debate. Wow, that's interesting. But Caleb, tell me, there's that question directly to you. Are you prepared to concede should you lose to Azimio?
That commitment has been made not once but several times by our party leader that we will concede defeat if we lose this election. But all indicators are that we're winning. Let me just say, I'm sure I can just finalize some. On the letter by Hussein, we were not trying to hijack the questions or not, but we were just trying to put some more flesh on the content of the debate. We wanted the presidential debate should not be about where this presidential candidate slept or where he had his breakfast. It should be about what are you coming to do for Kenyans. It should be what is in your manifesto and how are you going to implement it. And those are the things that we were, Hussein's letter addressed to the organizers of the debate was addressing. Okay. And when we talk about corruption being an issue of this election, I don't think the biggest issue, as you have stated from our manifesto there, is the issue of state capture. One of the key issues of state capture is the most recent activity on the Kenyatta University land, which is so shocking that Azimio find it not a matter of concern, not to mention at all the issue of the KU land saga, when it is a public institution that is being forced to surrender land illegally. Yet we have people here who are claiming that they are going to be in the front line in ensuring that we govern well, or rather we are governed well. So it's important that we discuss the issue of
would you compare that would you compare that with the Weston Hotel wishing to extend to grab a primary school space?
That has been dispensed with, and that has been
gentlemen, I don't want us to introduce topics at the very tail end.
They have nothing else to say.
Just hold on. We won't do justice to them. I'm sure we can do this at some other time, of course.